Hey, this is Robert. Thank you for tuning in to Station Square. And yeah, we kind of started off a little late today because, Fridays are just always just crazy. Like they say, it's the end of the work weeks, and it's always just kind of like the busiest for
Yeah,
next to
for
Wednesday.
every
But
reason.
yeah, for all the right
All
and
the
wrong
things.
reasons, all the
Yeah.
things. But yeah, I know you don't want to hear me talk about work weeks. You want to get to the special guest. So we have our lovely special guest in the corner. We have Miss Maura Lovejones. Thank you so much for joining me on today's
Thank
little
you,
episode to close
Robert.
out the week.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep, anytime, anytime. So I guess to start this off, just share about what's new, what you've been
Yeah.
up to. Yeah, all the good
Um,
stuff, all that good
yeah,
jazz.
so we talked before about, you know, like the focus that we were talking, planning on for my segment. And because we lost our house in the fires, I was thinking that it was probably important to talk about mental health and trying to stay positive, which I think a lot of artists, actors, voiceover um, talent have to really try to stay at that higher level through traumatic events, basically. And so that's been my journey since January. Is I mean, since COVID, things were rocky and then the fires happened, and it's kind of been a struggle for me just mentally. Um, and I feel like it's such an important thing to discuss when you're out there trying to get work and um, and just dealing with everyday life too as an artist. It's something that everybody goes through, and so I thought that maybe we could focus on that part because that right now has been my life for the past, I can't believe it, but I think it's like 10 months now, which is really strange because it doesn't feel like it's been 10 months. The fires literally, it feels like it happened yesterday.
I know. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of almost at the end of the year, and if I were to give my quick little retrospective on 2025, it's definitely been a rocky road. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like, oh, it's all sunshine and rainbows because, like,
Yeah.
no year is not, it's not perfect. None, we're not gonna have like a completely perfect year. I mean, yeah, because I think after what happened in 2020, I think I um, just kind of started getting into the like I don't want to say getting into the groove, but just like getting accustomed to like how life can be, like everything can be full of ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of been the case for the last 5 or so years, if not even longer than that. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's just been because we were also just talking beforehand where everything just feels so there's a lot of division. Like everything is so divided politically, it's divided mentally, emotionally. Like you were mentioning mental health, like things are just kind of like super stressful, like 24/7 all the time. And
Yeah.
we're just kind of we're just kind of like the Energizer bunnies where we just keep going and going and going and going and going. And we
Yeah.
just don't know. It's kind of like we're hamsters just running like in our little wheels, just wondering, oh, when will the insanity end? But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's just meeting people like you or just meeting the people that I've had on my show, way too many to mention. So if I leave out anybody, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's just talking to so many amazing just actors, artists, and people that I've now gotten to work alongside with and become really close friends with, in the industry because we were also discussing how with with Hollywood or showbiz and whichever industry that you're in, it's a lot has definitely happened. It's definitely like I won't say that it's definitely been like a dull, boring year because trust me, there's been a lot that we can discuss, like not just for this year, but just in the last 2 years. I mean, like we were just in a strike, and I know that was kind of like a big deal for a very long time, for at
Yeah.
least 2-ish or so years, and now here we are, just in the sort of aftermath. I don't know how things are going to play out from this moment forward, but yeah,
Is there
just
any
yeah,
aftermath anymore? I feel like we're just
yeah,
constantly in trauma lately.
yeah. Just what even is an aftermath, really?
What is an aftermath? We're living in the aftermath. I know, that's what it feels like. It feels like getting and I feel like what you just said about meeting people and talking to people, whenever I'm out talking to people or online doing voiceover, if I take a workshop or whatever, it fills me with a sense of, I don't know if there's serotonin or dopamine going off, but there's so much about the human connection and how important that has become in my life, good friends, family, talking to people, camaraderie and coming together on, a single um, interest or obsession, like acting um, and voiceover and and connecting with people is just become a very, very important to me, thing for me during especially this time. Um, Friendships, I think, as you get older too, friendships mean so much, like even more to me than I think I realized. I felt, maybe when I was younger that I could do things on my own or I could be on my own. And the older I get, I realize just how important it is to have good people around me and in my life and be able to talk to those people. So, um, we have a dog situation here. So I don't know if you just heard that.
Hey, look, I said this before. My neighborhood is just people that you just cannot walk one house. You just cannot go past one house without dog or
That a
cat
dog
or
coming to
just
the fence.
any
Yeah.
pet, just period. Just animals galore. So
And
I know
animals
how
are
that's like.
important too.
Yeah.
Personally, I like my animals. So those have also been very therapeutic. Animals and my kids. So yeah, just finding real authentic connections, I think, has been important for mental health. And then also, I've been writing too since the fires. Um, so that's kind of been my focus, actually, is picking back up my writing and creating, and then also I bought another camera because my camera burned in the fire, and I was a professional photographer for many, many years. And so art has been huge as for recovery.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, it just none of us really imagined that this year would really even start up, just start on fire, and now we're just kind of like trying to. I mean, like I'm just really happy that if there's one thing that really kind of was a huge thing that made me appreciate just the LA community even more is that so many people just coming together, just just rebuilding what was already lost, what has been lost, but now it's kind of like there's just this whole stronger community that is just now, ever so present. I mean, if it's not the fires, then we're dealing with, uh, yeah, I don't know how much I can say this
Vision.
without going. Yeah, so much
Oh yeah,
division,
without
like
getting
protesting.
political.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's a lot. Like, there's a lot that you could go. Like, look, there's other podcasts out there that you could just listen to. But yeah, I mean, I would just say, I mean, like, look at me. Like, this is not intended, but I have like a Captain America t-shirt on because, like, I still I still really do believe and cherish just there is a lot of good that is in America. Like I know that right now it kind of can be really bleak and hopeless, but for me, I just kind of always pictured America as just kind of like a nation where no matter how many times we fall down, we just find new ways to get back up. And I know that the majority of us aren't really on the same page, but you know what? The few majority of us that are still like in this long game that is life, we're just the ones that are resilient and just keep on trucking on. That's pretty
Yeah, I
much
think.
all I got to say about that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Americans. Oh, it's just so hard to say. It's so hard to say right now. But I feel like we could be coming together. Sometimes feel like there's fear of more division. Um, but I do see glimmers of hope of realizing that there's really no one side or the other, and that we all have so much in common, more than we think that we do. Um, whereas some people might say that we're completely divided and different on different ends of the spectrum. I think there's a whole bunch of people that are pretty much circling the middle. And if we could just get our voices a little bit louder so we could come together. But sometimes, there's a saying that says, uh, um, le- uh, empty vessels make the loudest noise. And that's um, like an empty warship, or when it bangs around, it's hollow because there's nothing in it, you know? And so they make the loudest noises. And so I tend to remember that when I hear the screaming on either end, that empty vessels make the loudest noise. And it's basically the people that are in the middle, um, that are have more common sense and are more thoughtful and considerate and quieter, because we don't feel the need to yell. So I'm just hoping that um, whatever divide there seems to be is really not as large as the group that's in the middle.
Sure. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done, but I'm just really glad that we're starting to really get the picture of what's been broken for so long,
Yeah.
personally. I mean, even before like this year, I always thought that there was just a lot of stuff that was just clearly not right, but I'm just kind of glad that the people that are really vocal and loud are really starting to, get people to wake up, just snap out of it. I mean,
Mm.
not everybody, but still, it's kind of like a good start. I mean, we're at least getting some sort of, common sense ish,
Yeah.
ish for the most part. Yeah,
Yeah.
from my
Yeah. Yeah.
perspective. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. That's, staying positive is important.
Oh, yeah. So I guess this kind of segues into my questions that I have for you. What would you say out of everything that you've done, or at least because I know with so many different projects, it's kind of like a broad answer per se of what we're actually working on a year by year basis. So what would you say were really the ones, like it could be just anything, not just with acting, writing, so on and so forth, but what would you say or have been some of the most exciting as well as the most just fulfilling, or just you discipline yourself and it's just really fun, really challenging, but in a good way per se? What would you say are just some of your like
So
the ones that you really
honestly,
love the most this
honestly,
recently?
it's what I'm writing right now, and the feedback that I've gotten from from people that have read it, and a couple investors that I've spoken to. I feel like that is kind of the most exciting and promising. It's just a short film that I think that could become a TV series, and so um, I'm kind of excited about that one. That one's kind of filling me with a lot of hope and promise, and it's exciting because it's something that I would direct and something that I would be in. And there's something about writing your own material too. I've always thought, okay, I'll write my own material, but and I've always had ideas, but like I said, because of the fires and everything, I finally just like woke up one day and just was, at the keyboard, typing away, and I like what I'm doing right now. So I hope by next, I'm looking at times to film it, and and I'm raising money because I mean, you can go out and you can film anything and you can do, but the way that I want to do it, I need a little bit more money. So I'm raising that, and and I'm hoping, the way that I see it though, I feel like this is the time of the year that I want to film it, is around this time. So I don't know if I'd be filming next year or if I'm going to do it in February. It depends on the money that I'm gathering, and yeah, I don't know. But that's what's exciting to me right now.
Absolutely. So it doesn't just necessarily apply to VO, but what is something that you really do cherish so much after being in the industry for so long?
That's a good question. What do I cherish so much? Okay, so I'm thinking about a moment. It was do you know oh my God, why is she slipping my mind right now? I'm gonna have to get my phone. I took a workshop a couple of years ago. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of her? This is bad. Um, Hold on. I've got to find her name because I, to your point, oh, there's the dogs. Hold on, hold on, hold on. You might have to edit this part. Hold on, hold on. Um, I feel so silly that I haven't, that I am, her name is slipping my mind. Give me a sec. I feel stressed out trying to find this. Hold on. I'm going to find it. Okay. Okay. All right. You promise you're going to edit that space of time out because I feel foolish for taking up that time. Okay. She owns something called the Help Academy. Have you ever heard of that? Julia.
Julia, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Julia Bianca
yeah.
Shuffling. Um, and I took a class with her, and it was basically about um, acting, with, oh my God, like it's totally slipping my mind, but capture, performance capture. Thank you. Spit it out, Maura. So essentially, they just got us in a room and we had scripts, to work off of, and it felt to me like theater. I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm back on the stage again. It wasn't in front of a camera. You weren't behind a microphone. We were just acting, and we were acting to an audience. Um, and I really cherish those moments of connecting on stage and connecting with actors. It does something. There's like a feeling. It's like this crazy feeling that I guess would take me back to my childhood when I realized that that's what I love to do.
Yeah. And going back to Julia and Hal, I'm pretty sure it is the Hal Network. If I'm mispronouncing it, just don't hurt me. But
Yeah, it's a help.
Hal
HALP.
Network,
Hmm.
HALP. Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to remember what class I did, but I know I did a couple of their workshops or webinars in the past where they were talking
Yeah.
about, casting and motion capturing. And I
Yeah.
really thought that they were, yeah, so it was just kind of, like you said, it's just being very immersive, being up on a stage, and yeah, just really. learning a perspective, the perspective from people that actually did stage on camera. Um, it just really reminds me, it really does take me back to when I used to do productions, plays, choir, and just did a lot of that improv in elementary, and then just relearning a lot of this stuff and applying it into VO while also kind of
Yeah,
stealing from
yeah.
the best, because that's what you got to do.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it brought me right back. It brought me right back. I was like, "Oh my God, I love being on I love stage. I love theater."
Yeah, it just we just gotta love those dogs. But also, I'm just like,
Gotta love those dogs. You gotta love those dogs.
yeah, and that's kind of what sort of piggybacks or just kind of segues into my next question here, which was it's not one of the questions that I sent you via email, but when because I when I do these, I typically avoid like the oh how did you actually get started, blah 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 blah. But when you did theater and when you did stage and being up on and performing in front of all these people over the years, what is something that you really enjoyed? What did you really love or really take out of doing theater and just applying it into VO or just any of your other creative just endeavors that you've kind of been sort of dabbling into
I
recently?
think
Yeah.
years ago when I was doing a lot of theater in New York, someone asked me kind of a similar question, like, "What do you love about theater?" And I think I said something like, um, "I love affecting people, taking them to a place and um, affecting them, having them go through emotions with me as I'm on stage." Um, so that always felt, and maybe that's the connection thing again that I talk about. Um, so there's something about that, and I think it probably is connecting with people. And then what was the other part of the question?
Oh yeah, what is something that you kind of took away from doing theater and also apply it to just your other creative stuff that you make?
Um, I think it's probably also, and this is the reason why I got into photography, um, because I'm, really visual as well. So moments, I guess, creating a story, because that was my photography too. I would create a story through imagery. And if it was editorial, of course, editorial has to go with the story that's being told. Um, and so it was all about storytelling. It's about storytelling. And I think the theater and bringing that to photography and movies, I love movies. And bringing those, momentary, stories to a still image. Um, yeah, I think it all worked together. One definitely helps the other. And plus with, photography, you're directing too. You are a director.
Yeah, and for directing, would you say that that's something that you kind of sort of want to maybe do in the future?
Definitely, because what I'm writing now, I definitely want to be the director. Um, and again, it's something that I've already done with photography, so it kind of it comes naturally. I've never directed, anything, any moving imagery, but so that'll be something for me, that's going to be an exploratory situation. I'll have to, because usually I'm just talking to my subjects or my actors, or my models beforehand, and we're talking about what I'm creating and the look of it. And then, it's easy to direct a model from behind a camera, still images, but now we're dealing with emotions. Um, so it's absolutely something that I want to do with what I've been writing.
Absolutely. And for photography, um, because I know there's also a story that I would love for you to talk about, with, doing the photography business. I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about, like many, many, many years ago. I don't really recall which year specifically, but because you did a story of, students that came here, and it kind of is a little relevant to what's happening today. So
Yeah,
if you wanted to talk a little bit
dreamers.
about yeah. So just tell
Yeah,
us about that.
it was so it was a story about all of these kids going to college and graduating college and then having these degrees but not being able to get work because they didn't have their citizenship. And it's crazy to me for these kids who were, they were in their early 20s at that point. But, you know, I guess I'm going to get a little political here, but they come here, the majority, 99% of these people are coming here literally to find a better life, literally to get jobs to feed their kids without the gang members breaking into their house and taking everything they own and telling them that this is their house now, because I know people that that has happened to and they had to escape El Salvador. So they're coming here not not to take and not to rob. They're coming here because they need a better life. And that really is what America was set up to be. Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty, when you come into New York, that's where we processed people. I mean, it is like the story of America. Um, so I did this, story, you have to think about how am I going to create an image that will tell that story. So one image, right? And it's going to have to tell the story of this article. And so I took a student who was graduating and she was unable to get work after because she didn't have her citizenship. Fully capable, worked really hard, first one to go to college in her family. Family worked really hard to get here. You know, I think she rode over at that point and she was like stuffed in a trunk or something with her family. She said she thought she was going to die. A lot of them trek through the desert for days and they pay the coyotes to get here. So they're doing everything they can to live a better life. And so I wrapped her in the American flag, but faceless, made her faceless, and then lit it the way that I had a style of lighting that I did back then. And it did win a couple of awards because it, it in that one image, you're you're kind of getting a sense of what America is supposed to be about, but because her face is blacked out, it's also something else, people trying to stop these people from living a better life, which is crazy to me. I think what we see on the media, I mean, we're getting political again. We're seeing these things on the media as if, you know, as if they're horrible people, and it couldn't be. Like I said, 99% of them are just here trying to live. So anyhow, that was one of the images that I did of undocumented students trying to make their way.
Just want to thank you so much for sharing because I know that for just a lot of heavy stuff like this, it is so important that you know, stuff like this, it's kind of stuff that a lot are just kind of hesitant to talk about, but I feel like, for like it's just a terrible situation all around
Mm,
and stuff like this should really be documented and that way we could just put more awareness of why this is just really really not okay at
yeah.
all. Um,
or it doesn't make sense.
doesn't make no
You know, like
sense. Yeah.
media and social media can be great, but then if you've got someone who's hateful, then social media isn't so great because they're putting out a narrative that isn't true. So
Hmm.
it's so hard right now. It's just
Ah, yeah.
crazy. I mean, to have common sense is, I don't know, dangerous. No.
Dude, that's
It's so strange. It's just strange to me.
trust
Um,
me. Try going on Facebook or Twitter for like 5 minutes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know. And I've been
Uh,
arguing actually a lot with people too. I think someone started to argue with me on Instagram when I posted that picture when, because of the whole ice thing. And I'm usually like, oh, live and let live. But oh my gosh, I dug right into it. And I should probably take it down. But I
yeah,
just fought with this guy back and forth, and I ended up calling him racist. And, I just, I don't know what to say about it. But, that it gets to you. It gets to you. This anger and this incredulous um, racism and and um, stupidity. I hate to say that people are stupid, but um, I think maybe a lot of them aren't worldly either. Maybe they're not around enough
it's like, or they're
color,
just living in a box or in a bubble, kind of like in their own little world. This
in
is how
their
I see it.
own little fearful
Yeah,
QAnon world or something, Um, and it's just it's there's so many that's what America is about. It's like we are supposed to be the melting pot. We are the we there's that's what it's about. They're supposed to come here.
yeah,
That's just obviously if they're going to come here and do nefarious business, uh I you know, I don't want them here. But Dahmer was a white guy. But you know what I mean? Like there's plenty of born in America criminals. Whatever. We're getting very I don't know how we're getting political.
yeah. There's a lot. There's a like I said, that's a whole different subject that I would discuss with somebody that I would like if I were to talk about stuff like this, I think I probably would just have somebody that is like into really like knows a lot about the ins and outs because a lot of this stuff I like look
You
I
try
would
to stay
just
away from because it doesn't make your soul feel good.
exactly because you turn on the news so much just even here in LA it's just man
Yeah, I
just
know, I know. Even here in
unreal.
LA, I know.
Yeah.
Thank
But
God we
yeah,
don't have I mean, look, there's racism everywhere, I guess, but
yeah.
my husband asked me one time, he was like, I think we were somewhere, I can't remember, but I was like, oh, there's some like I don't see any like black people or Asian or Hispanic, and he goes, oh, does that make you feel better? And I had to think for a second, and I like, does it make you feel better if there were? And I had to think about it, and I go, yeah, I would feel better if there were black people in Hispanic because that feels normal to me. And again, maybe it's because I'm not in a bubble and I live in LA and it's like when there's color around me and there's culture around me, for some reason that feels way more comfortable to me. I guess that was a realization. Oh, I'm way more comfortable with like all different types around me. I don't know why, but it
I,
does.
I think also when we have that life experience, because I know like and when we do anything creative, whether it's writing or drawing or just,
Yeah.
performing, like we do a lot of those experiences do kind of stem from our own,
Yeah.
own life. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not like we're just gonna let it go to waste, but we're just gonna And that's why, when we do acting and just any, or even just me doing this podcast, like it's so therapeutic because I can just talk to somebody and just have like these real conversations about just a lot of so
Yeah,
many
you
different
find out more
topics. And
about
yeah,
people and different lives,
exactly.
and that
Yeah,
feels good to me, I guess. I
yeah,
can explain
for
it,
sure.
but it's
Yeah,
like, you know,
yeah,
without the diversity, it's just boring,
for real.
right?
So I definitely do want to talk about, want to go back to the photography just real quickly.
Hmm.
So for the photography, that's also another, because that's also definitely another creative outlet where you can just, because you're also directing and et cetera, et
Hmm.
cetera. So would you say that it also helped you gain like even deeper or a better understanding of just, the world, culture,
Acting
and
or yeah, yeah,
just,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
just anything that it helps you just
Yeah, and
grow as an artist?
actually, some tools when I go in to audition something, um, to get into character or to get a sense or feel of the copy that you have to audition for, um, people will say, listen to music, and that's actually very helpful. Music is a huge, like, brain awakener.
I've
You're
been
gonna,
listening to a lot of Beatles albums. That just kind of gets me in the mood
oh,
now.
cool,
Yeah,
cool, cool.
good old
But then
60s.
also like imagery too, even if it's commercial, because that's actually very helpful when you can scroll through. And now with Chat GPT, you can say, "Can you bring me up some images that would feel, like a banker, or something that, because with copy about banks, they want the voice to feel like it's confident, right? So
Yeah,
it's almost
and
like
conversational. Gotta love those real conversational
conversation. Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Very conversational. Yeah,
Which
yeah, yeah.
ironically, that's what I struggle with the most.
Yes, it's
Because I'm just
hard.
used
It's
to doing
hard.
character like commercial. You got to be real
Yeah,
to somebody. Well, I mean,
yeah.
we're being real right now, but just doing it in a for a copy for a commercial is like, because they're so specific on what they want to. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, we want this, but we also want, what do you want?
I know, I know. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that
you
is
gotta
the
love
that is the
collaborating with
thing. At
folks.
the end of
Yeah,
the day, because I have many discussions about this with some of my friends for copy. And at the end of the day, I think you just have to go, I'm just gonna do it.
just
And
do it.
I'm
Yeah,
just gonna do it. And I hope they like it. Or, I'm just gonna be myself. I'm just gonna do it.
yeah,
Because when there's so many instructions, it can be mind bending. I
yeah.
mean, there were times when I would be in my booth, like sweating for 3 hours, being like, I don't know if that sounds right, and then redoing it and redoing it and redoing it. Um, I think authenticity, I think that is a good direction, authenticity, because you're either right for it or you're not.
For sure. We'll definitely pick this up in the next part. So if y'all like this so far, definitely like, so do that YouTube mumbo jumbo, and yeah, we'll see you in the next part, finale ish. I don't know. We'll just ramble on even longer. You know how we roll. But anyways, I'll see you in a little bit. Hey, so we're just gonna close this out, hopefully with just even more fun conversations and stuff. Yeah, because that's what we do up in here. So yeah, talking about because we haven't even talked about a lot of your voiceover stuff, but I think I kind of know the story about how you kind of got your start in theater and acting and stuff like that. So would you say that, going back to Julia, would you say that the help, voiceover class was kind of like your kind of, I don't want to say gateway, but it was kind of like your little sneak peek into entering the world of voiceover? Because
Um,
I'm just curious. Yeah.
okay, so my agent, Portia Scott, I took a class
Love
with
her.
her. And
Yeah,
then
she's great.
she had asked me afterwards to come on board. And so from there I just took like so many classes. And so, and you know, I have to admit, part of taking all those classes too, because it was during COVID, it was literally like a lifeline of friendship and getting together with people and experiencing art and letting art come out of me. And it was an extremely therapeutic situation for me meeting Portia. So um yeah, I made some really great friends, you know, just from taking all those classes. There's what other classes have you taken? Workshops?
Let's see. I did one with Richard Horvitz. He still does those weekend Zoom course. So for those who know Richard, he's like a Vader Sound, so on and so forth. And there's also a lot of other voice actors that do, yes, you know, coaching spots, whether
Yeah.
it's with help or with other organizations. Skills Up is another one. Yeah. So I've done quite a bit. Just need to update my training and stuff and just still continue.
It's
I guess
always
that's another
though.
thing
That's
too. You always got to
always.
keep on training and updating it.
Yeah.
Just stay on top of it.
Yeah. Um, have you gone to Atlanta? That's always.
Atlanta, oh yeah, the VO Atlanta, yeah, those are always like really far, and also I always got something booked the weekend
Right.
that they have that they have these events out there. Like literally without fail, 9 times out of 10. Oh, VO Atlanta. Oh, I already got an obligation. Too
Yeah, yeah,
bad.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are always great too, because you get to meet like Tim Friedlander. I recently reached out on it was like the Gear Exchange on Facebook because I had lost equipment and I lost my room in the fires. And I mean, this is another great thing about the community. Tim Friedlander got back, like reached out right away and, you know, pointed me in the direction of NAVA, um, because he's, you know, he's a head guy in NAVA, and they have help and a fund for fire victims. And you know, that's the great thing about this community is everybody's so nice, giving, helpful, friendly. Um, yeah, it was a big source of comfort for me jumping into VO.
Yeah, and I also gotta ask, like, was there any bit of because you mentioned movies and shows and so on and so forth, what would you say were ones that really left like the biggest impact on you as an artist and as a person, period?
For theater, I would say it was a show that I did at a small off fringe off Broadway. Or there was another one that when I was living in London that I was a part of as well. Um, it's funny because I think of theater a lot when I think of like my favorite. There were some things that I did out here that I liked. Um, I was actually hired by HBO um, to do a spot on Luck. It was this show and it was about horse racing, but they were shut down because the horse race, there were some horses that met their demise because you know horses are so sensitive and having all that equipment around horses, something happened, so that was shut down, so that was a bummer. But whenever I think of and I worked a little bit on shows here and there, um, but it's always theater that I go back to. There was a small theater in New York, like I said, and me and some friends did an adaptation of Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. And for some reason, that it was just a that was like a ideal time in my life. And maybe it was because I was younger and you know had stars in my eyes, and but I love theater. And maybe it's because there's people right there. You're performing to people right there. So you're making those connections immediately, you know?
Yeah. And I also know because they often say it's not who you know, it's who knows you. when it comes to this industry. So making those genuine connections and not just going up to somebody and just, befriending them just for opportunities or stuff like that. Because trust me, it happens way more often than you think. But just being genuine and just real,
Yeah.
and just being yourself, like
It's putting
it's
yourself out there
just
too.
it's
It's
so
not
simple. Yeah,
easy to put yourself out there, you know. You have to be brave. You have to put yourself out there.
exactly. So when it comes to voice acting and et cetera, did you like? I know I mentioned like projects and stuff, like you're writing something right now. But what about the characters that you've played over the years that you still hold very near and dear to you?
You mean the characters that I've created myself, or because basically I've been doing dubbing with
Yeah,
voiceover. The characters that I've created throughout, I mean, I like the characters that I have. Um, it'd be great if somebody loves one of those characters and takes that on. It's hard to say though, because I mean, right now I'm just so focused on my writing, and because my room burned down and my equipment burned, um, I don't know. I'm 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 thinking that my next step right now is my script and that character that I've created, which is drama because the other characters that I've created are, silly and, they're all comedy. And now I have this other character that is really dark. And it's not because I'm depressed. It's just something that's coming out of me right now.
yeah. Like I said, just channeling just anything from life, and then just putting it into art can be a really therapeutic.
Hmm.
It can be a very therapeutic experience, that's for sure. Coming from experience myself,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I did share my some time ago that I'm doing a project, and a lot of the characters that I created with somebody else. We kind of base some of our personality traits and stuff off of just basically both me and the co-writer.
Yeah.
So a lot of the characters do kind of come from me in a way because um, like like all of us have been through unfair situations, been through some trauma, and one of my goals is to have the characters just come out of it just not unscathed, but more like what are they gonna take? What are they gonna like learn out of a really crazy event that just kind of happens to them just out of the blue? Like
Hmm.
because all of us, when we're placed in situations that can be pretty scary, we just don't know what we're gonna do. Like, how are we gonna respond? How are we gonna react? How are we gonna even function after that?
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of something that I'm doing with that little series that I got going on there.
Right. It
Yeah.
well, it takes a great also director to work with to draw that out of you and to create a character.
And it's also putting yourself out there, the courage and the being brave. I mean, doing it even when you're scared. It's just, you're putting yourself out there. Just
Yeah.
having the strength to do it
Yeah.
in the first place.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I'm just really glad about that. I'm just so happy because I'm just glad that we're starting to create stuff where artists are allowed to just be vulnerable. Like I just mentioned, music, shows, movies, and stuff. It just allows us to see these people, like just see their experiences, their pain, and just turning into art. I mean, if you go back to Picasso, even,
Hmm.
um, like that it comes from a place of like I've heard and just learning how to turn it into just I mean not I mean like yeah there's profit involved but like just really just being real and just allowing ourselves to be human.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the bottom line
And letting
of
the
what I'm
art
trying to
come out.
make. Yeah. So what is something that has been I don't know if you've answered this already, but what would you say has been really keeping you positive just in general as of
Um, I, Probably this project, definitely friends. So I have a couple really good friends that I'm very lucky to have, and my kids. And then athletics. I was an athlete when I was younger, so I started playing this game, and for some reason that's really helping my mental state of mind. It's called padel, and it's not tennis, it's not pickleball, it's something completely different. It's really big in Europe, but that's really helping me. You know what? And it's funny because I was thinking the other day, oh, I have all these different groups of friends. Like I've got my photography friends, I've got my voiceover friends, I've got my theater friends, I've got my theater movie friends, and then I've got this Padel group of friends now that's like growing. And it's interesting to see how like maybe, it's probably because I have a little touch of the ADD. And then I have a group of pottery friends too, because I did pottery for a number of years. So, and, and in those groups of things that I've done, which is all art, um, I've made some really great solid friends. And so those are things that probably keep me going. Art keeps me going. Lately, it's the writing and Padel and the kids and the animals and yeah.
For sure. I mean, it can definitely be a lot of stuff that just keeps us just grounded and, just not just grounded, but helps us just keeping us just keep our sanity intact. You know what I mean? Just keeping
Yeah,
us
and it
all
adds
sane.
to it
Yeah,
adds to your art.
exactly.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
if you were to think back to something in your life that reminded you just why you love doing what you do, what would it be and why? Performing, just all the above. Yeah,
If I could think back, it's kind of a good question. Why do I do what I do? Like, why do I write? Why do I why do I do it? Oh no, I don't know. It feels good. It feels right, I guess. When you work on a project with a group of people and everything is working like perfectly, you know, and you create a great body of work, whether it's photography, newspaper, voiceover project, animation, movie, when you've got this group of people working towards this specific goal and you make this amazing piece of work, that feels right. It feels more than accomplished. It's what is that feeling? I'm trying to come up with a word or think of a word. Not serendipitous. I don't want to get corny or cheesy and say like, oh, that's like God, but there's something about art that is so, to an artist, I think that is so fulfilling that you can't not do it. And so, yeah, I guess that's why I do it. I can't not do it.
would be my answer too. Yeah. I mean, like we're just here today, just shooting the breeze about just life and so anything that kind of comes to us just offhand. I mean, most of what I do on the show is just we'll just wing it, going off the cuff, and just see where it takes us. That's just kind of how most of these kind of go anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm just really happy that once again I've met people like you and just so many others that if I were to name them all, I would just probably be here for like forever. So, um, to anybody that has done these, discussions with me over the years, and just even those that kind of watch, these episodes, I know they, I mean, just even if a few people watch it, because I don't really. look at like views or comments or just what does the algorithm do like on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
YouTube. But I just really thank you. Just it just really means so much. It just means the world that like we could just have these silly, just kind of personal discussions that just kind of ramble about some other nonsense for about an hour. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's what I really
thanks for
love. Yeah.
asking me. Thanks for
Yeah,
asking me.
anytime. And yeah, and I just know that you're just kind of like an example of because I know that yeah, going back to what happened in January cannot be ignored. But I'm just really glad that people like you are still trying to, you know, even if life can kind of throw like a really wicked, just kind of just a terrible tragedy. It's not like, hey, we might get knocked down, but hey, we're just gonna keep on persistent and keep on persevering no matter what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm just really glad that it's because
I think
I've
that's
also known a lot of
voiceover now
actors. Yeah,
in general. That's art, movies, performance, and voiceover in
yeah.
general because of AI. Um,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
people are feeling that way, like I might get knocked down or that
Those
this is
dreaded two letters.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
That we just keep going and we keep dealing with it. And I think also like Tim Friedlander with NAVA, I think that's, you know, he's kind of doing the God's work of VO right now.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just like so happy that yeah, because it's not just you, but I know there's so many that have also lost everything and they're just trying to rebuild just basically what they're just trying to start like a new beginning into their when it comes to home, just starting with their lives. I think it's also something that it's like it's just so inspiring, but at the same time it can be pretty harrowing of like, look, we don't know how much time we're going to have here. So that's why I often say to people like, don't just stress about like what you're going to do like tomorrow or just anything in the future. I always say being grateful for what's happening, what you do have for what's because you mentioned your family, you mentioned a husband, you mentioned your friends, just a house. Like
Yeah.
we don't really take any of this for granted. Like
Right.
it's just so easy to do so.
Yeah.
And we just don't know how good we had it. We have it until
Right.
just like that. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Um, so I also kind of wanted to go before we do wrap it up. TikTok. So I kind of want to discuss about that because I know that it's also kind of an interesting website in its own right, and I know there's some stuff that I'm not gonna really indulge into right now. But yeah, TikTok seems to be like the new, or how I don't know how much longer it's gonna be up for. But yeah, just talk about just making content and doing these videos on Instagram, TikTok, just
So,
creating content on social media.
funny
Yeah,
enough, so when work was a little slow, I collect rocks too, like
yeah.
high-end
Oh
rocks.
yeah. Yep, yep.
And so I created a different channel. And then also in the middle of like selling, some of my collection, I play a Pictionary game, but it's not like it's on TikTok you can draw on the screen and I do it old school. So I do a pen and a piece of paper. And for some reason that kind of took off. And like I have like 16,000 followers, I think, and I feel like it's mostly because of the games that I'll play with Pictionary. When I was younger, we used to play Pictionary and my mother used to make me, I mean, she used to make me crack up so bad because she can't draw to save her life. And
Neither can I.
instead of trying to draw something else to help me get the answer, she would just point to what she drew, which was like nothing.
No, that would be my mom too. Like if she doesn't know, she would just point to me, and I'm like,
Just
"That is
point, and I'd be like, that
point. Like,
point
what are you trying to say?
doesn't
That doesn't
help.
help me. Like, you think I'm gonna get it just
Yeah,
by pointing? I
yeah,
need a
it's
visual."
a funny game
Yeah,
though, and so
yeah.
I don't know. I got a lot of feedback from the Pictionary game thing, and yeah, and since the fires and everything, I've only done it a few times. I have to get back because I do have 16,000 followers, which I can't even believe that that happened. That was kind of weird.
It's
I
just so
yeah,
crazy how it just blows up overnight. Not even
yeah, like
overnight, but it just kind of
yeah,
happens just out of the blue, where it just like, where, where did all you people come from? What?
exactly.
Hello? What?
Yeah, I should
Where
see.
y'all
And
coming from?
my
Shoot.
name on for that one, for that account is called Powerful Deity Goddess of Rocks. I came up with the craziest name for it, but yeah, I have 16,000
I mean,
followers.
hey, if it has a nice ring to it,
I
so
know. Yeah. It has,
I just
people
have
will be
these
like,
generic,
powerful what? Yeah.
yeah, I just have these generic names on like YouTube. It's just, trust me, they're just
Yeah.
about as basic as you could possibly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
sometimes it's the easiest to remember.
exactly. Just like it's so funny that you mentioned how you just kind of blew up on TikTok. My YouTube, it would just have like a few hundred subscribers, and then I think in a few months I had like over. Actually, you know what? Let me just look at my channel right as we speak. Because I swear it just only happened in a few short months. So right now I'm at 2.39K subscribers, which
Amazing.
yeah, I know. And I think
Amazing.
mainly because okay, so I do these comic dubs from like Sonic and Mario and so on
Oh,
and so
yeah, yeah,
forth.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also do like have a bunch of episodes on my podcast up on there. And I also do like poetry and a bunch of other are not
Yeah.
garbage, just a lot of other craziness on there
Right.
because my neurodivergent 80, whatever I have, it just will not rest.
Whatever
My
we all
brain is
have.
just not
Yeah.
whatever we all have. Exactly. So
Yeah.
I think it might be because of those comic dubs. I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but
Oh,
that
I'm
people,
sure. I'm sure you garnered a lot of attention from.
yeah, because I know people just really do love Sonic. I mean, hey, what just look behind
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just it's my new workspace, so do not get if it's not broken, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Nice.
Yeah, this is really nice.
Yeah.
Share any final thoughts, advice to close out this
You're just
interview,
so
and
sweet.
yeah, also plug in I mean, you just kind of plugged in TikTok, so just plug in the rest of your stuff, anything that might be coming out, and just yeah,
Um,
um,
you
final
know
bit
what?
of
I will. So on Instagram, I have Powerful Deity Goddess of Rocks, but it's not nearly as because I didn't do any live shows or anything on Instagram. So it's on TikTok, and I should have a show soon. I should do a show soon. I I I've just been writing so much, but I will make announcements. I'll let you know when I feel like I'm coming up to the filming part of my movie because I know I'm going to do it. It's one of those things that I feel really really strong about it. And so and I've gotten some good feedback and some a couple of good investors, so it's going to happen.
gotta keep me posted about it.
No, and then Instagram is Maura Lovejones. I think that's it. But and then yeah, so that's it. I think so. I have, you know what? I think YouTube is a good platform, and I really have to look at that. So yeah, Maura Love Jones or Powerful Deity, Goddess of Rocks, blah 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 blah. That long name.
Yeah, you gotta tell me how you came up with that one.
Because I think I got cursed by this girl. It was another argument on don't argue with people online. Anyhow, I was like, I think this girl who thinks she's a witch just cursed me, and ugh, it's a long story. It sounds so silly. Forget it. So
Oh
I
no,
came up
no.
with I needed a deity, like to block her.
Oh no, now I'm kind of oh boy, now I'm about to get my popcorn. Oh boy. This
I
is gonna be
know,
a
I know,
story.
I know, I know, I know. But it was so funny because out of that like little tiny argument of this with this horrible girl, like I started the deity channel and then it had 16,000 followers. So it's so weird. It's just weird how that happened, but it happened.
Boy, that would be something we would love to hear at some point in the future. I don't, yeah, just the
Just more
craziest stuff.
drama.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a lot of
Yeah.
drama. Yeah,
Just a lot of like diversion from, life.
yeah, exactly. So I guess on that note, what would be your last final like closing advice or just anything that you want to close us out on for today?
I think when you're younger, you think that the world's coming to an end. Well, maybe it is. No, I'm just joking. But you go through these ups and downs trying to find yourself when you're young, and you will find yourself. Everything's okay. If I could speak to my younger self, I think I would say that. Like, just stick with your art. You're an artist, and don't let the world get you down.
Yeah, and just do it. I say
Yeah,
this in every interview, but it's so simple, but it's so effective. Just do it.
yeah.
Just do it.
Just do
Yeah.
it. Just do it. Just keep doing it.
Yep, right on.
Yeah.
So, if you'd like to do the outro for this, you could just say your name, what you do, and this is Station Square Podcast with Robert Jackson. That would be nice.
And then say what? Wait, what outro? This is Maura Lovejones. I'm an artist of many things. Right. Today we're talking about movies, theater, and voiceover, and photography, and pottery, and crystals. And the ending part is say that
Station Square Podcast with Robert Jackson.
stage and square,
No, station. Station.
station,
Like the work train station. Yeah.
station square.
Square Podcast with Robert Jackson.
Okay. This is Maura Lovejones, and this is Station Square Podcast with Robert Jackson.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, look there. Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, the sun's still shining. So, yeah, we're
Yeah.
just ending it off pretty strong. So, I just want to thank you so much for joining me on this
Thank you.
late
Thank you.
episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know we
Thanks.
kind of had
Thanks,
some,
Robert.
yeah, it's some, like I said, crazy day, and we also kind of started a little late, but it worked out for the better, thank
We
God.
got
So,
it.
yeah, we got it all. So, with that said, thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode whenever
Super.
that comes out. So, yeah, take care. God bless you,
Okay.
and God bless. Peace.
Thank you,
Bye.
Robert. You too.
Thank
Bye.
you.